press record on my devices. But what I did was I used the Tunable app and I played a drone of an A. So here's the A that the oboe plays. Okay, can everybody hear that? Okay, so now I'm going to detune my fiddle. So my fiddle's quite flat now. And I'll just kind of mess with the other ones just a little bit, just to show you how I do it. Okay, so here's my A. Now I'm going to bring it up to match that A that we're hearing from the oboe. Now, did everybody hear that come in? I saw a few heads nodding when they came together. I'll do it one more time just to show you, okay? Listen carefully. Everybody hear that? How about you, Calada? Did you hear that come in? Good. Now, I'm going to play it now. So then she's finished, right? Then you see that she stops playing the A, and then you hear everybody kind of move on to the rest of their strings. So what they do is they play the D and the A at once. Now I'm going to detune this D. So listen to this now. I know the A is in tune. I just finished tuning it. So that's my reference point, okay? And that's because it's the middle of the fiddle and the middle of the bridge, and so it seats the bridge down nicely. So now I'm going to play the A and the D together and listen for when that perfect fifth comes together. And if you hear it come together, nod vigorously. Okay, good. I got some nods. That's good. So everybody could hear that? So now that perfect fifth is perfectly joined up now, and I know that's good to go. Now I'm going to check my D and my G. Oh, do you hear that warble? The G warble is slower than all the other strings, and sometimes if you're really close, you can't really hear it because by the time you're finished one bow, that's one warble from the G because it's such a slow frequency. So this is quite quick. That's good. Everybody got that. That's great. Really good. I'm going to do it again because like I said, the G is a little harder to hear. Now that's well out of tune there. Everybody hear that? Yeah, I can tell. That's good. Now, I leave the E until the end because the E is tighter than all the other ones put together. And if I made changes to the E first, it would cock the bridge in a weird way. And I'd be chasing the intonation across the bridge and back. It's really frustrating and hard to deal with, okay? So here's the E. Whoa! Now that sounds like a chainsaw, eh? Because it's such a fast frequency. So when they're not joined up, the two wavelengths, it's like a sawtooth. See that? And that's what's happening to your ear. It's cutting away at your ear. My dad hated flat. He couldn't stand it. Now I'm going to bring it in. There you go. Everybody heard that. That's good. I'm going to do it once more just to be sure. Oh my God. That's great. Now, I saw everybody nodding their heads very good. Now, I'm just going to check my fiddle again. Because although I went through all that with you guys and you heard it come into tune, the fact that I did 2 goes at each string is actually quite drastic tuning for the fiddle. You don't usually do that much. It has to be really out of whack for you to actually make that many changes. So I bet you any money now, I'm going to check my A and it's going to have changed a little bit. I'm going to check it now. Indeed, it's a little sharp. Okay? So now I'm going to touch that up. Now I'm going to touch the rest of them up too. go. Now I'm bang on the money. Okay? Now when I went back to check on my tuning there, most of my strings were sharp. All right? Now it really depends. There's a whole bunch of factors. Sometimes it's flat, other times it's sharp, and they were all pretty sharp. So when your string is sharp and you're tuning it, it's really important to go below the note that you're going for and then come back up to meet it. If you ever do go to an orchestra concert and listen to the violinist tune now, which I'm sure you will if you ever get to again, then you'll notice that they always go from the bottom up. They go from flat up into tune, and it's because it's more stable. Okay? If you're sharp and you let off the tension until you get in tune, I don't know if you've ever used a winch, but oftentimes when you let the tension off of a winch, a little bit more happens after you're done, you know, because it's kind of letting off that tension. So it's much better to go just a little bit below the note and then come up a little bit to just kind of tighten that winch and settle it, okay? So that's how you properly tune your violin. And like I said, it took me a long time to actually learn to do that properly, both with my ear and physically, because I'm sure it's not going to be, like most of you guys can probably do it, but not everybody can actually twist their fine tuners while they're playing the string. It's kind of hard to do, you know, or the pegs if you use pegs. So it takes a little while to get used to it and get better at it and hearing it properly. So for now, most of you guys, if you don't already use the perfect fifths to tune, are probably just going to tune each string to the tuner, which is really fine at this point. Totally fine, okay? And it doesn't get your fiddle kind of completely bang on. Sometimes it can, you know. Even a stop clock is right twice a day. Once in a while it can, right? So that's your best bet, is to tune each note to the tuner. And then when you're done and the tuner likes what you just did, if you can play those double stops and listen to them, it would be a really good idea. Both for being able to play double stops in your playing and for your eventual goal to tune your fiddle by yourself using the proper reference of the perfect fifth. See what I mean? Okay? And that's how you tune your fiddle. Now, when you do use the tuner to tune each string, make sure you start on the A. That's the biggest, most important thing, I'd say. Start on the A, then do the D, then the G, then the E. One other thing that I have to say, because of all the broken strings I've seen this week in the beginner class, is that the A that you're tuning to is A4, the fourth A up on the piano. That's what that number means, all right? The D is also D4, just above middle C, the D right above middle C on the piano, okay? The G is G3, that's below middle C, G3. And the E is E5. That's 2 E's up from middle C. 5 E's up from the bottom of the piano. Okay? Because if you're tuning to the wrong octave, that's when you can break a string. If you're trying to tune to E6, then you can bust your string. And on the guitar, the top E string is an E6. And so if you have a guitar tuner you're using, then you can easily go way too far and break your string. So,
can you go over those four again?
Yep. So A is A4, all right? And get used to it. It's your fundamental pitch on the fiddle, A4. And the D string is D4 also. They share the same octave, those two strings. The G is G3, okay? It's below middle C. And the E is E5, okay? 2 E's above middle C. Now, let me just do a poll here. Who uses their perfect fifths open strings to tune, and who tunes each string to the tuner? Start with you, Stacy. How do you do it?
I just use my guitar tuner. Sometimes if I'm near my piano, I play piano too.
Yeah.
I'll use the piano, but
That
just whatever's handy, I guess. Whatever's nearby.
And when you tune to the piano, do you tune... Do you use your perfect fifths, or do you just tune each string to the piano?
Just each string.
Okay, well that's fine. Keep doing that.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little tip. I mean, I'm sure you've already figured it out. But you sit at the piano bench. This is what my dad used to do. It was very funny. Sit at the piano bench, reach out with your foot and press the sustain button, and then pound that key, and then try to get it in while it's not
That's
finished
what I do.
ringing.
Yeah.
Was that what you do?
Good times, yeah.
Yeah, it's your only hope, unless you got
Yeah,
mom there to
exactly.
keep playing it. And if my mom was there, she would just keep playing that A to keep the sustain going while we would all tune to it. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so for now, keep doing that, but really try to play your double stops once in a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about
do
you,
that.
Kayla?
Yeah, I used to do the double stops and then I got lazy and I've been using my tuner lately, but I'll accept the challenge and get
My,
back to
my
that.
brother Sean said he got lazy when he was on tour with a show there for a while. There was very little time between acts, because between the shows, and he would just kind of flick it on and just do each string. But then he said he stopped doing that after a while, and I think it's because I started to get the edge on him with intonation. He started to get scared, and so he went back to the proper way. Sibling rivalry. How about you, Melanie? You got each string going? You use the tuner on each string?
I use the tunable, and then I do the individual strings, and
Yeah.
then I do the double stops.
Oh, you do them. That's great. Keep doing that. Yeah. How do you get along? Are you able to get a good sound the whole time?
With some adjustment, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't done it by ear yet, like without the tunable, so I guess eventually you'll learn how to do that. But.
Sure. Well, we can try it. So we can totally try it. But I think the first of all, next week, first of all, everybody's going to try this week is to play those double stops. Okay. Then we're going to talk about how you get along, and next week we will actually try it, and then every week I will play those double stops right off the crack because I always tune before we start playing anyway. So I'm going to play them and I'm going to get you guys to really register that perfect fifth, because the other thing about learning how to tune your fiddle according to perfect fifths is that for the fiddle player, that's your basis of intonation. The first interval your ear hears when you play the fiddle is 5 notes apart. Everything else we do is based on that. Open 1, 2, 3, next string. That's our whole life, right? Guitar players, it's different. Guitar players, it's open 1, 2, next string. And I could never get the hang of it my entire life. I tried and tried. Couldn't. So fifths is our big thing. So the more you get to know that interval, the stronger you are no matter what you're playing. Okay? How about you, Deb?
Sorry, did you say Bev or Deb?
You first.
You did say Bev.
I don't know. I can't remember now. Short memory.
Sorry, it sounds the same. I've gotten lazy, but I've had many have been trying to teach me how to use the double stop.
Yeah.
So now and again I will. So just now I did it, and I could tell my E was out of tune, so I checked it, and it was.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's really good. And it really does depend on getting good at double stops, because if you're not good at double stops, you can put your open string out of tune by leaning on it too much. That's the problem with double stops, is you're splitting your weight with this finger between the two strings. And if you use A and an E for an example, the A, you need to nudge against it a little bit to get a good sound. Just the tiniest bit, right? The E, you don't nudge at all, right? And so you need to lay that weight on the A, but still have a little bit left for the E. And if you do lean on the E, you'll hear that pitch will just drop. It'll just, even though the string is in tune, just because of the weight of your bow, it'll flatten that string, So you gotta finesse those double stops to use them to tune. So if you could hear that, if you checked and it sounded in tune, then your tuner agreed, that means you're getting a good touch on them. That's really good.
I just can't figure why the double stop, when I want to play it, I can't, but when I'm playing and I'm not supposed to hit the double stop, I do.
Yes, well, that's the in-between period, but we'll keep working on it. Now, how about you, Bev? When you tune your fiddle, what do you do?
I tend to use double stops. I use the tuner to check sometimes, because when I first started playing the violin, all we had was a tuning fork.
Oh, yeah.
Those, and you'd have to hit it on something and then put it on the instrument, hear the A, and then tune your violin, and then do the double stops.
Yes, thank God for the tuners, eh? And I remember the very first tuners, when they came out, they couldn't hear two strings at once, so it would just go like this.
Yeah.
Hopeless, right? But now this tunable app, it can hear 2 strings at once. It only shows you one, but if your other string was out of tune, it would show, whatever your string is out of tune, it would show that. It tends to show that. So it's really, really good. But that reminds me of uilleann pipers. When they're trying to tune their low D, right, they have to have all their fingers on the chanter to tune that low D. And so that means that if they find that it's not really in tune, they take their hand off to make a change, and it changes the D that they're trying to tune to. So they really do have to go back and forth. Listen, try to match it, try it again, it's really it's impossible. So we have it much easier than them, and we have it much easier now. But keep doing that. That sounds great. Now, what about Simone? When you were playing the viola, did you do it that way, or did you do each string?
I honestly don't really remember, but now I use the tuner, and my mom does too. She sometimes uses a piano.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I really don't have a great ear, so
Really?
I try to do the double stops. I can't. I'm like, oh, I think that's right, but I'm just really guessing.
Did you hear the ones that I played when they came together? You did hear that? Okay. That's your beginning. That's your starting point with this whole thing. Okay? So keep listening for that all the time. Now, it's apparent in a couple of other intervals, too. I should tell you. The octave. You hear it go out and come in there? Yeah. So, and then also the fourth. That's a perfect fourth. That's D1 and open A. A perfect fourth. Here's an imperfect fourth. You hear that come together? Yeah. So the perfect intervals, the octave, the fifth, and the fourth are your starting point. Because if they're even a little bit out of tune, it's like a sawtooth. And when they come together, it's unmistakable. Okay? The third and the seventh and the sixth and the second, much harder, because even when they are in tune, here's a third. That's a bang on in tune F sharp and A. A third, right? Major third. Even when it's in tune, it still has a little bit of a sawtooth. You see that? And it's just because the third can be major or minor, so it never really knows, so it goes between, and that's what you hear there. So start with that perfect fifth. Keep listening for it to improve that ear. And I'm going to check in and keep helping you along with that, okay? Awesome. All right, guys, shall we get into it? I know how Calida does it. I've been doing it with her for years. And how are you getting along tuning your own fiddle these days, Calida, by the way?
I just tune to the tuner and then play the double stops, but I think I need to figure something out with the pegs, the top peg.
Oh yeah, what's going on?
I don't know, but the the fine tuners are getting really loose, but then they're still in tune, but they're really loose.
Okay, so yes. So you have the opposite problem. Now, most of the time, the problem you run into with fine tuners is that, you tune, and after a while you're at the bottom, right? You can't tune anymore. It's like, oh God. So then you gotta use the pegs. So what you do in that case, and I'm sure you guys might have run into this, maybe some of you are at that point now, but basically all you gotta do, and you should always do the whole thing. If you have one fine tuner that's at the bottom, it's time to do them all, okay? Because you always chase otherwise. So what you do is you let them all out, not all the way. And just like Calida said, she's saying that her fine tuners are out so much that they seem loose, and it's kind of like, ugh, And it's because at the end of the fine tuner threaded rod, it's actually pointy, like a screw. Okay, so if you get down to the end there like that, it's going to feel a little like there's a little bit of play there, which means that it's about ready to come out. So you don't ever want to take them out all the way. You want to take them out most of the way, okay? And then you got to use your pegs to get them back up in tune. And then fine tuners again to get them bang on. Yes, Deborah?
So one of the things, every so often you have to do that and you've got to get to the peg. I get afraid
Yeah.
when I'm turning the peg that I'm going to break the string.
Yes.
I'm just afraid to turn it, and I'm not sure how you know when to stop.
Yes, so here's what you do. Just like I was saying with going below the note and then back up again. So if you need to tighten up because you've got to the bottom here and you loosen it all up, now you got to tighten, right? So instead of just tightening, which on an older violin, like if that peg has been in there for a while, then and you do that, that could really be a big jump, just like you're talking about, you know? Because with an older violin, if the pegs are a little bit worn, they don't move smoothly. They kind of go ka-chunk, 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 you know? And it is a bit of a danger. So what you do is you just do flat first. You loosen it first until you get it free, and then you just come up. And again, like I said, it's much more stable to come from flat up to in tune. So when you're doing that, so you turn them all out, then you go to your peg, and if it's stiff, just try to tune it the other way first. Then there's no danger of breaking a string. And once you get it moving, you should be able to move it gently up to where you need to go, and then use your fine tuner to finish it. Okay? For Kalida, you should probably just tune them all in, say, I don't know, like maybe like a quarter of the way, you know what I mean? So that they're back in the normal spot. Give yourself lots of tuning room, and then same thing, just loosen those pegs off, take them up until they're close, and then use your fine tuner again. And your dad should be able to help you with that, because I've seen him tune up your fiddle before from tuning guitar, okay? All right, but you should do that, because that can definitely, it can be buzzy too, it can cause rattles. Okay?
How do you know when to do that release on the fine tuners? Like, I don't know how far to go on them before I start loosening them off.
Well, you feel it. You feel it gets a little bit loose in there. So it's kind of like you're turning it out and it's nice and turning regularly, and then you get near the end and it starts to have a little play. It's like, oh, that's enough. And then
so
you,
the thread is finished, then you're not going anywhere.
yeah, but it will come all the way out. So as soon as you feel it get a little bit loose, just turn it back in a couple of turns.
So it's not the height of the pegs that you look at then?
No, it really depends on the fine tuner. Some of them are very short. Some of mine get really long. I just did mine. I don't know if you can see that there. I just did them the other night for the beginner class because they wanted to learn to tune their violin. So that's about as big as they get. You know, that's plenty of tuning room. That'll do me a good 50,000 kilometers, 50,000 notes. Okay, so that's how you tune your fiddle. That's how you deal with it when you're at the bottom of your fine tuners. If your pegs are stiff, then you might need, if they chatter like crazy, they're probably worn, which might mean that you need to get them done. But if you want to get by, then you buy the stuff called peg dope that lubricates your pegs and gets them to move a little smoother. But it is kind of a band-aid. If they're not moving smooth, you might have to get them redone. Just means new pegs. You just take these oversized pegs and pencil sharpener them and get them to fit properly. That's all it is. The holes get worn. The other thing, if your pegs keep letting go all the time, then you got to chalk them. Okay? So if they won't stop slipping, then you got to take them out and you put some chalk on there and you put them back in, and then they'll hold up. Yeah, you got to chalk them up just like a weightlifter or something like that. Okay? So that's how you deal with your fiddle there, guys. And I hope everybody gets along pretty okay tuning their fiddle anyway at this point. And you don't have too many problems. Okay, let's get warmed up. Tonight, let's do a G major scale in 2 octaves and then an A minor scale in 2 octaves. All right, scary, I know. All right, and everybody's nicely in tune now. That's lovely. Let's do it. Ready, scale. Okay, now we're gonna have to do that again because my tuner was upside down and I couldn't figure out why it was telling me I was sharp, and it's only because it was upside down. So let's try that again, shall we? Ready, and... Alright, let's try the old arpeggio there. Ooh, Kayla got the snark. That's a good tuner. Very good tuner. Yeah. It's the best clip-on tuner that there is that you can buy for the fiddle. Okay, arpeggio. Ready, go. Let's try that once more because my high B was the tiniest bit sharp. Ready, go. Were you guys finished first? Awesome. I might not be loud enough. I might be a little bit too quiet. And plus there's two fiddles there. I have some students that say with the Zoom thing they have to put a mute on their fiddle so they can hear me while they're playing. You know what I mean? So with the two fiddles it might overpower me. But anyway, I'll play louder. I'll get a little closer to the mic too. Okay, how's everybody getting along with G? Good results? How's your high B's? My second one was bang on the money. What's the biggest problem? Who's flat on the high B? Stacy. Who else? Who's flat? Melanie and Susan. Who's sharp on the high? Oh, and Diana. Who's sharp on the high B? Bev. That's my problem. And Deb. My problem is that when I think it's in tune, it's actually sharp. And I'm trying to train my ear to get that right every time. Right now I get it right probably 80% of the time. But yeah, so it takes extra work. Now, A minor. Have we ever done a minor scale? No. With this group, I don't think so. I don't think we've done a minor scale. So here's my tips about minor scales. First of all, they're harder. They're a lot harder because there are three different kinds. There's melodic minor, harmonic minor, and natural minor. Okay? I know, it's a pain. So here's the melodic minor. So it's minor on the way up and changes on the way down. Okay? Very common actually in music. And here's the harmonic minor. I call it the desert scale. And indeed, there's lots, especially in the Irish, that have that scale going on for sure. And here's the natural minor that you run into more often. Now, the basic difference between a major and a minor scale is that when you compare a minor scale to a major scale, the third note of the scale, the sixth note, and the seventh note are lowered by a semitone. Okay? So that makes an A minor scale is a scale that starts on A but has no sharps or flats. All right? That's an A minor scale. Same as C major. They're relatives. Relative major and minor. Okay? So the basic position you're thinking about here is we're going to start on 1. That's the low A. And you're going to have regular first position on the G string. On the D string, you got to haul back your 2 to the low position. Okay? Yeah. On the A string, same thing. You got to haul that C back to a C natural. Okay? On the E string, it's even more drastic. You got to pull the 1 back to get an F natural. You got to pull the 2 back to get a G natural. And thank God Almighty, your 3 stays where it normally goes. Okay? And that's how you play an A minor scale. I'm going to play it for you one more time. I'm going to play both octaves. Please feel free to play along if you already have it a little bit. Ready, and... That's an A minor scale. And the reason we're doing this is because all these tunes that the King George said are in A minor. So we might as well get the key real nice under our hand. Let's do it again, shall we? So get that low A ready. Here it is. Everybody satisfied? Okay, here we go. Ready. Ready, and... How did everybody get along with that extreme sadness? All right, let's do it again right away. Ready, and... Okay? Everybody get along okay there? Now, the big danger I've noticed with minor scales is because of the lowered nature of the scale, people tend to lower everything, all the notes, and end up flat. Okay? So, one way to keep from doing that is to remember that those third finger notes, every one of them in this key, are where they normally go. They have not strayed at all. It's the other fingers that might have changed. And again, with the G, the D, and the A, you're listening for that ring. You hear that ring, you know you're hunky-dory. Okay? Let's do it again with that in mind. A minor. Here's your A. All right, people look satisfied. Let's do it. Ready? And... it? Let's try an arpeggio. Okay? So that's going to be the G1, 3, D1, open A, 2, E, 3, E again, A2, A, D1, 3, and 1. All right, how'd everybody get along there? No terrified looks, really. Let's do it again. This time, do you think I have to, do I have to shout out the numbers a second time? I do? Okay. G1, ready, and 1, 3, D1, A, A2, E, E3, whoops, E, A2, A, D1, G3, and the low A. Okay, how'd we get along that time? Getting along better? Cool. All right, so that's the A minor scale and arpeggio. Now the reason I started with G is because G is a familiar scale. We all have done it a million times. They call it the people's key because it's the most relatable key. For if you ever notice, whenever they sing happy birthday in a restaurant, it's always in G because most everybody can sing it, you know. So we start with G, but it does give us most of the positions that we need for A minor with a few exceptions. So it can be a good way to get there. You know, you play the G scale, you make the few minor changes to your hand, and you have the A minor scale. Another really good thing to do if you're trying to get better at your intonation is to play A major and then A minor. Okay? Your ear loves that, side by side. Let me do it for you. And whoever knows A major, please go ahead and play along. I'll go a little quicker so we can get through it. But I'll play A major and then A minor. And everybody can really hear, you can hear the difference side by side. Here we go. And now, you hear that? Isn't that interesting, eh? The major and then the minor, it's like, wow. And when you do it the other way around, it's like pulling the blinds open when you hit the major scale. It's great. And you hear it on the third. The third note of the scale is where you hear major or minor. Okay? So how did everybody get along with all that tuning work? It's good? Now, Kayla, what are you doing with your fiddle?
What do you mean?
I saw you kind of messing with it a lot.
Yeah, I still have some tape on to mark my notes, and I just was noticing playing with my tuner that it wasn't quite in the right spot, so I was fixing it.
Ah, is it their historical tape from a long time ago?
Yeah.
Yes, they migrate, eh? The tape marks, sometimes the tape migrates and sometimes the fiddle migrates.
Well, and also I found out that this fiddle is not the standard size, so I think also sometimes I've gotten used to playing this one, but when I first got it, it was very confusing, and I now know why.
What is it? A 3/4 or a 7/8?
It's just a non-standard one. I was getting it fixed because there was a crack in it, and the fiddle guy was telling me that it's not, just the proportions of it are not standard.
Really?
Yeah. It's an old fiddle, so I guess maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we had a 7/8 fiddle. They're rare. But we had a 7/8 fiddle when I was growing up, and it was a real old one. It was apparently, it was French, and it was played in front of Napoleon.
There you go.
But it was busted a million times and glued together, so it wasn't worth anything anymore. You know what I mean? Like, just like Dad's fiddle, unfortunately. But it was a strange size. Although it was the perfect size for, say, 13, 14-year-old playing the fiddle. I remember it very well. It was called the Rooney fiddle because we got it from this guy Rooney, and it was really comfy for that age.
Actually, I have a 7/8 as well.
Oh yeah,
And I have an 1845 fiddle.
nice.
And same size, but I've been told they're ladies' fiddles.
Oh, okay. There you go. Ladies' fiddle. That's right. Yes, my wife constantly reminds me that I have very long gorilla-like arms that drag on the ground sometimes. So it could be a lady's fiddle. Anyway, keep messing with your tapes or just take them off altogether if you feel brave, man.
I'm not feeling brave today.
Okay, so shall we play what we have so far? So far we have, somebody remind me, we have King George the Fourth. Yeah, we have Miss Lyle Strathspey. Did we do Miss Lyle? Oh, we did. Okay. Did we do the old King's Reel? We haven't done the reels yet? Okay, so why don't we do Big John, right. So why don't we do Miss Lyle and King George. We'll freshen those up. We'll do them a few times. And then we'll start in on learning the old King's Reel, okay? Because we're doing these in the Ontario order of operation. It does make sense that the old King's Reel would come first, you know.
Dan, how many times are you doing each of them?
Well, in the Cape Breton tradition, we do twice, but let's work on each tune individually, okay? We'll start with Miss Lyle. We'll do it a good 3 times, and then we'll see if anybody's having any problems, and we'll move on. All right. Miss Lyle Strathspey. 1, 2, 3. Little faster. was approaching regular speed for a Strathspey, especially if you're in Scotland. So how did we do? Bows were moving. Stacy, you were out of the shot, so I can't tell how you were doing, but I did see the tip of your bow a great many times make an appearance, so that's a good sign.
I knocked down my phone by accident, but I was doing okay.
Okay.
I hold my own.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. No, that's all right. How about anybody else? Did anybody have trouble? Did we have any casualties?
One question I had, I think you said last time you didn't want us to slur the 16th notes.
Yeah, it's better if you don't. I mean, you can do it if you feel like it, of course. This is fiddle music. There are no rules. You do what you want.
I got into the habit of slurring each of the triplets at the end there. Is that what you mean? I should play those individually, or?
You know, I think individually is good because you can get the jig rhythm going. And that's the intro for the whole set, eh? That Sandy always plays. Yeah. So, you know, you do what you want to do. Sometimes the slur, if you're going up, the slur is a little bit handier, you know? And so it's totally fine, but you might try both. See what you can get under your hand. Okay? Anybody else having any trouble? How are you doing up there, Melanie? You don't know where you are on the screen, but you're up in the top right-hand corner.
I'm having trouble keeping up, but I can sort of fiddle through it at my own pace.
Okay. Now, one thing that might be slowing you down that I saw while you were playing is a little bit of a collapsed left hand.
Okay.
Now, that can be caused by a little bit of clutching on the fiddle, and that slows you down like you wouldn't believe, the left hand. And I used this example the other day in one of my classes. So you can move your fingers really fast like this, right? If you put your thumb across there, try to move them, and it's a real effort. It's really stiff. So the same thing happens, all right? So the more relaxed you are, the more you're going to be able to do that. Okay? Anybody else? How'd you do there, Susan? You all right? Yeah? No problems? Okay, good. Bev, you're doing good? How about Simone and Diana? How are you guys doing? She's keeping your fiddle up, I noticed there.
I know, I get a bit bossy.
Yeah, it reminds me of, you know, that my dad used to be left-handed, and the nuns used to really not like that, eh? And they used to hit his hand, and he said that they hit him so many times because he used to write upside down. That was the thing, and the nuns hated that for some reason. They just couldn't stand that. He had no problem writing, but it was upside down. Many left-handed people do. And he said that they beat him until he got the paper halfway around, and then he finished school. So after that, he wrote sideways for the rest of his days.
Nothing extreme.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, Calida, you're doing good? No problems? Okay. And Deborah, you're doing good? No problems?
Yeah.
Medium? Anything you want to talk about?
A couple of phrases that I'm having trouble with, but it's just practicing some rhythm. But I think my biggest problem is the very first pickup and then getting over. That seems to be my biggest problem. I almost seem to be like a half a beat behind.
Now, that's a big change, eh? Going from A to G, that you're jumping a string there, right? So first of all, you're going to really try to do it without your arm. So not like this, but like this. See how I do it there? Simple and easy. It's a very small move. Okay? Yeah. Now, the other thing you can do there, Deborah, always, whenever there's a problematic pickup, you can play it without the pickup a few times. It really seems to help, you know? So that would look like this. See that?
Just play one note?
Yeah. And then you can add the pickup. See that? It really seems to help a lot of people doing it that way. Without the pickup and with the pickup. Because sometimes, especially a 3-note pickup, can be a bit confusing. Okay? Anyway, let's grind it again. Tiny bit faster there, guys. 1, 2, 3. looked pretty good and confident there, guys. We'll go with it. All right. So now, King George the Fourth. Another one of those big jumps. Hey? Let's just do it, man. Just get that A ready. Plunk that first finger down on the D and the G, and let's do it. 1, 2, 3, and... Okay, just gonna check in. How we doing? How we doing? Because we just learned this one last time, I know. Anybody having any troubles? No? All right, let's put an extra seatbelt on and go a little faster, shall we? Okay. 1, 2, 3, and... One more. All right, people looked pretty happy there. There might have been a few bumps in the road, but how'd y'all do? Yes, Susan.
On the second line, when you're going bump, 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 the timing is different than what you're playing there.
I know. Don't do as I do, please. Do as the music says. I tried not to do it, but I kept doing it. And if you look, the bar below
is what you're playing.
Is what I'm playing. Yeah, and I love it, and I always do it. But I'd rather people follow the music.
So you do the sharp and then the natural.
Oh yeah.
Written. Okay.
Yeah, but that is the way it's. Yeah, that's the way it's written. Yeah, good. Thank you, Susan. Thanks for pointing that out. My failure to do that properly every time pretty well. Anybody else having any troubles like that or troubles that I was having? No? Awesome. Okay, so that's the two Strathspeys. Now let's leave them for now. Let's see if we can get this reel under our belt, okay? Because when you transition from Strathspey to reel, it's a bit of a trick. So we'll take a look at that next time. And also, in the meantime, you guys can try putting these two Strathspeys together. And in service of doing that, I'm just going to play, so that because I got the recording going, and anybody that wants to too can, but I'm going to play the second part of Miss Lyle and the first part of King George so you can hear what the scene is like, okay? That's it, basically. It's not very hard, but if you've never tried it, you might get confused with how the pickup notes work.
So the last note in Miss Lyle, the A, is the pickup note.
Yeah, basically that's all I do. I just elongate that. See that? Just like that. Two great big A's, and then you're down on the low strings. Does that make sense? So you can mess with it at home. Mess with it this week. You are at home already, I know. But mess with it this week, and then we'll put all three together there next time. And once we learn the reel here tonight, I'll show you that transition so you know what to work on. Okay? Okay, time for the old King's reel. First of all, I'll just play it a couple of times so you have it ringing around your head, okay? Whoops, sorry. Okay, everybody got that ringing around there? A minor special. I hope you like A minor. Anyway, so we're starting off here. This tune starts off with a great big A major, or sorry, A arpeggio. Without the C sharp. See that? So that's A, E, and the low A. So the same as King George. Exactly the same setup as King George. All right? So that first phrase there is very simple. That's basically the whole first phrase right there. And we'll leave the B, we'll leave that because that's really the pickup for the next phrase. So we'll just leave that. We'll attach it to the next phrase. All right? So let's see if we can play through that first phrase. It's very scaly. It starts off with this big arpeggio, A, E, A. And there's two A's at the bottom, and then a B with big long A. And a short A. There's a lot of A's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A's in that bar alone. My God. Jeez, I think it was Scottish music or something. Okay, so let's see if we can play that there, guys. A, E, A, A. Ready, and... B, long A. And then back up to the A, and then same trick, but this time back up. And then we got 3, 1, open, G2. Okay? That's the first phrase. Everybody managed to kind of play those notes in some kind of a fashion there? Let's do it again. A, E, A, A. Ready, and... Okay, and then that's kind of what's going to lead the next phrase is a great big A cut. And then another A after that. Okay, so let's start that first phrase again, see if we can get as far as that A cut. Okay, and then we'll do the second phrase. 1, 2, 3. All right, everybody able to do that? Okay, good. Let's do it again, just like that, except better. 1, 2, 3. Getting there? Okay. Now somebody told me once that I have a few tells. So if I want you to change to the A string, I usually do this, apparently. Apparently. That's what they say. A big kind of... And if I want you to go the other way, that kind of... Okay? So you can watch for that. Let's do it one more time. Oh, long notes. Yeah. Somebody told me whenever I'm trying to show a long note, I go... So you can watch for that on the low A. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Cut. Up the scale. Cut. Not a cut button. Okay, that's the next bit there. Now I did 2 cuts and I shouldn't have. If you look at the bar right below, you can see that there's a cut on the low A and a cut on the C. Now, I tend to do them in both places, but in this music it's actually just a long C the first time around. See that? Doesn't really matter what you do, but I thought I'd point it out if people are trying to stick to the music. Okay? So that second phrase... And then we got an E and a G, and then the D, down we go. Skipping a couple of notes. So let's see if we can get that second phrase there, guys. We'll play the B pickup note, and then the big A cut. And then we're going up the scale after another A. Okay, ready? B, A, another A, up we go. C, another C. E, G, D, C, B, G, G. That's how that phrase goes there. Okay, let's do it again, nice and slow. Low B, and then a cut on the A. Ready? B, A. Another A. B, C. Another C. D, E, G, D, C, B, G, G. And then we're going to do it all again. That whole arpeggiated bit again we do. All right, are we getting that much of that old king? Okay, let's see how far we get here, guys. Let's start her up right from the top. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, who was with me through all that? Everybody pretty well? Yeah. That's great. That's really good. Now, did anybody notice, I'm sure a couple of people noticed, that when you come back around to play the first phrase again, it's slightly different. Did you notice that? Yeah. And it's just basically a more elaborated version, eh? You see how that works there? So if you did go and play that first one again, it wouldn't make any difference in the world. No big deal. You just keep going. But that phrase, let's just practice it. So it starts the same way, the A, but it's just a little bit notier. So let's try that together. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and the rest is very, very much the same as the first line. Let's try that again. The second time we play that first phrase. So this is the second line of the tune, okay? Starting with the A that's at the end of the previous line. Ready, go. A, G, A, B, cut. F sharp. Okay, that is her. Has everybody got it? Okay, let's grind it a few times, and then I'm going to make somebody play it for me because I believe no one. Okay, from the top. 1, 2, 3. Little faster. Last time. All right. Have a little breather there. Jeez, it's a lot of fiddling. It's a lot for me today. This is hour number 5.5 of teaching and playing the fiddle today. Thursday is a heavy day, but that's okay. I got more life in me. Don't worry about it. It's nothing. It's nothing. No big deal. Especially since I got my clip-on mic and I've stopped shouting. It's much better. Now, how are we feeling? Anybody have anything to report? Difficulties, revelations, discouragements, observances? Anything?
Just crossing the strings,
Yes.
particularly getting the sharp, which one is it? It's the C sharp.
Yeah, it's a bugger.
C sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this, no, it's the F sharp. Pardon me, the F sharp.
Okay, yeah.
and then going, yeah, I just find that a little tricky.
Now, did I tell you guys about string changing, about how I show you how I do it and all that kind of thing? I did? I'll just remind you. So check this out. Here's what my hand looks like for the G and the D. See, it's straight. Straight up to my pinky, like straight line right to my pinky. Here's what my hand looks like for the A and the E. See that? It's a chicken wing. Little curly curly. G, D, A, E. That's how I change strings. None of this funky chicken at all. I don't have time for that. It's too much work. And plus it puts you right over to other strings you don't want to be on. It's way too much energy. So that's how I do the bow. And with my hand, it's like this to move from string to string. And I'm always leaning. So, for instance, you're talking about that G, there's F sharp there. So see how I leave my I leave that finger down for that whole first phrase. You see all that music and no movement on my left hand? See that? And that's how I do it. That's how you save time and go fast and get your check at the end of the night. Okay? You plunk them down and leave them down unless you absolutely have to pick them up again. And even then, you're really wondering, do I really have to do this? Okay, so if there's no more questions, let's go a little bit quicker. But I'm open to questions. Please don't hesitate. String changing is good to practice just on its own. You do a little bit of a down bow on the G, then up bow on the A, skipping that D, do a down bow on the D, up bow on the E, clean and nice, just like I did it there. Then you switch it around. You do an up bow on the E, down bow on the D. See that? Up bow on the A, down bow on the G. Try not to use your arm and just do it with your hand there. Little tiny notes. Yeah, that's pretty good there, Deborah. It's getting better. And that's how we change strings quickly and easily. If you work on it on its own, you come across it in a tune, it's a no-brainer. Okay? Anyway, so with that in mind, let us grind away at this A part. So plunk your finger, and let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now that's like the hardest thing, is that when you're finished all that business down on the low strings, you got to hop up and play a high D. You see that on the music? An A3. Okay, so that's the pickup note for the B part, is an A3. It's a real pain. So, that being said, the second part, so we got a D pickup note, and then we got C to the A, and then C back up, and that's the big bagpipey note there, the note that makes it sound so scotchy, the G natural. Okay? So let's see if we can play that first phrase there. C, A, C, up we go, back down. Ready? Let's do it. And we'll do the D pickup note on an up bow, okay? Get your D ready. Ready, and C, A, C, D, E, D, C, A, B, C, D, B, G. And you can just stop it at that G, because the B there that comes after is really the pickup for the next phrase, okay? And you see there's two of them. It's tricky. 2 B's in a row there, when you include the pickup. Yeah. Yeah, you're not joking there, Kayla. Double notes are confusing for a lot of people. They end up sounding like one note. And it becomes, for rhythm, really tricky. So we'll split them up. Anyway, let's do that one more time, guys. First phrase. Okay. D, C. Ready? And. Let's do it again right away. 3, 2, ready, and. Last time. Ready, and. Isn't that weird? I always take that out and write out on its own because it is an odd sounding phrase. So let's really get it in our heads, okay? That's B, B, E, A, B, C natural, and then another C, E, and then we'll get that high bit. But let's do that a couple of times, that middle phrase of this second part. So 2 B's and then an E. Ready, and. Oh, that looks good. Everybody looks good. Let's do it again. And you notice how I'm doing the first B in an up, because it really would be an up bow in the tune. Okay? So B, B, up, down. Ready, go. Oh yeah. Now the next bit. It brightens up a little bit. You hear it go major there, a little hint of major. Okay? Just a hint though. It's Scottish, that's all you get. It's a little hint of joyfulness. Okay, so we're going to try that little scaly bit. 2, 3, 2 on the E string, okay? Ready, and 2, 3, 2, E, D, C sharp, B, E. Let's do that again. The last bar of the third line. Ready, and 2, 3, 2, E, D, C, B, E. One more time, I swear. G, A, G. Ready, and G, A, G, E, D, C sharp, B, E. Okay, now here's what we're going to do next. We're going to take those two phrases and put them together. So the BB one and this one. It's such a strange little phrase because it's where you're playing between the major and the minor, eh? And it's really, I find, the coolest phrase of the tune. So let's get ready with those 2 B's, the first one being on an up bow. 1, 2, 3, and. Let's do that again, okay? BB. Ready, and. That looked more confident. Let's do it one more time. Ready, and. Yep, that all looks great. Now, by rights and theoretically, we should be able to start at the top of the B part and get all the way to near the ending. Okay? Because we got the first phrase. We got the second phrase. First phrase again is what we do next. So we should be able to fly right through that. And then there's this little scaly bit that is the ending. Okay? And that's what we're going to learn next. But first, We're going to start at the top of the B part there, and we're going to keep going until we can't go any longer and everybody's desperately flailing around. Okay? So let's do it. So the high D and then C sharp to A. Second part. Here we go. BB. Okay, now we got this ending. Now how did we do there, guys? Not bad? Now there's a slight difference in that first phrase. I didn't tell you about it the first time because I thought you might be able to just sail through it anyway, you know? Deniability and all that type of thing. So how did you do with that? It's slightly different. It goes, instead of, it goes, oh sorry. Okay, very slightly different. Now let's see if we can get the ending. A great big long C. Then a B and a G. And that up bow Sandy's got marked in there is going to help a lot. Okay, so we got the big C, the B to the G, and then A, C. Down we go. Skip 2. Skip 1. That's how that ending works. Okay, so it's a scale down, but we skip a couple of notes. And whenever I look at a tune like this, I see a big scale. I don't even bother to look at what the notes are. I just look at the ones you skip. See, the rest of them are a no-brainer. Okay, so in this case, we're scaling right down from C on the A string, and we're skipping the the F sharp and the low A. Okay, scaling right down, skipping those two notes. So let's try that long C once more. Long C and then B to G. Ready, and A, C, down we go. 1, open. Yeah, that looked good. Let's do it again. Ready, 2, 3, C. Last time, I swear. Ready, and okay, we getting the ending? Awesome. All right, let's slap our helmets on and go right from one end of the B part to the other. Hopefully nothing really bad will happen. D part, or sorry, high D, pickup note. Ready, 2, 3. Okay, nobody stopped or cried or anything like that, so not too bad. Sorry about the crying thing, but I'm trying to put a kid through homeschool, so there's crying. There's a lot of crying. And you guys aren't doing any, so that's great. Let's do it again right away. Okay, 1, 2, 3. more time. Okay, all right. I'll get you a chance to start. So how we doing? You feeling good? Everybody getting through that? Okay, so we'll try her right from the top now, unless there's anybody that has problem or a question or wants to try it, anything for me. No? Not right now? Yes, Susan.
I don't want to try it for in front of anybody, but the slanted line underneath, what was that again for?
Meaningless, totally meaningless. Somebody thought it was a slur one time, but it's not.
It's not, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it means. And Sandy's too far gone now to ask him, but I would really like to know what he meant by putting them lines in there. Okay, any other questions at all? Anything? No? Okay. I was trying to get a cat filter going for myself today. I thought that'd be pretty funny, but I don't actually know how to do that. And failing that, I was just going to go get the cat and put the fiddle in his hands. You know what I mean? That'd be pretty funny too, but he was not having any of that, so. Okay, let's do it right from the top. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go! Okay, so how we feeling there, guys? How we feeling with all that, all those notes? A minor, yeah. Okay. Any questions or problems at all with any of that tune?
So who was the old king?
I looked it up once, now I can't remember. But, you know, the Scottish people didn't like that many kings, so he must have been a good one, you know? That's the thing. King George, they liked him. I know that. I can't remember why
Charlie.
now.
Did they like Charlie?
They liked Charlie, but he was never a king. And I don't know why. Huh? Prince. Yeah, it was a prince. And I really don't know why they still like him so much, because I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's a really great documentary about the Battle of Culloden. It was done in the 70s in Britain. It is so good. You've seen it, Deborah? It is so good. It's like Monty Python, but it's serious.
And I've been there. I've been to Culloden.
I've been there too, yeah. But I love how they talk to a couple of the Scottish guys that are lining up to fight the English, and they don't care about the English at all. They're like, how come you're here? Because my cousin, because there was also Scottish people on the English side, of course. You know, they would drag them in, you know. And this guy's like, my cousin killed my nephew last year, and I'm going to get him today. Can't wait, you know? And that's basically all it was. And then the Bonnie Prince, he just kind of sat at the back and looked, you know, oh, it's not going too good, and he took off. So I really don't understand why they like him so much. But anyway, but I had a remarkable experience there when I was in near Culloden once. I was in a castle there, and it was friends of our family who owned the castle. And the guy constantly wore a kilt, this guy. Even when we arrived, he was up on the roof fixing the slate, and he was wearing the kilt, you know. And I can understand, because I hate pants. But anyway, so we're hanging out in his, like, rec room area in the basement, and it's an ancient building. And at one point or other, he takes down this painting from the wall, and the painting is like, it looks like an abstract kind of circular, swirly painting. So it doesn't really make any sense, you know. And he puts it on the table, and he takes this silver kind of goblet glass that he had been using to drink whiskey, and he said, this painting is a secret painting of the Bonnie Prince. And right after the Bonnie Prince scarpered, as they say, took off, legged it, his image was outlawed in Scotland. So if you had a picture of him in your house, then they could haul you off and hang you or whatever the hell it was for treason, right? So, but people still liked him for whatever reason. So this guy had this painting, and he put it on the table, and he took the goblet and he put it in the middle of the painting, and the Bonnie Prince's face appeared in the goblet. It was totally cool. It was just the way that it was painted on the thing, meant to reflect and show the Bonnie Prince's face on the convex goblet. So cool. When you're 12, that's pretty cool, man. You know? Anyway, so that's the, what do you call it? The Old King's Reel. We have one more minute. Shall we try it one more time? Let's give it one more go now that I've distracted you and given you a little handbrake there. One more go with the Old King's Reel. So plunk that one, and let's do it. 1, 2, 3, go! Looking pretty good there, ladies. Not seeing any serious problems. Anybody have anything to say before we sign off? Questions or problems or anything at all? No? Well, that's great. What a great class. So we'll learn the next one in this list there next time, and we'll put together the set a little bit more. Alrighty?
Thanks,
Okay.
Ben. Are you going to be giving us some Irish music for?
Yes, next up on the chopping block will be Irish music. I think it's probably going to be some reels.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
For St. Patrick's Day.
What's the next one on the list? The King's Reel?
King's Reel, yeah, we might be able to get King's Reel. Oh, I should mention, very confusing thing that I cleared up there over the week. Sandy's book has a 4-parted version of the King's Reel, okay? And it's not actually a 4-parted version. The next 2 parts are variation. It's a variation, all right? So we're just looking now. People play either one. They're both really nice. You'll see they're slightly different from each other. They're both really nice, but we're gonna play the first one because it's the least confusing. So that's the first 3 lines. The next 3 lines are just a different version. I don't know why he put them together like that, except that I realized that I'm pretty sure that when he was playing the set, he did the 2 versions like. The second version was the repeat, you know? So he'd do the reel twice and the second version the second time. That's probably why he has it written out like that. But it would be very confusing because nobody would ever play a 4-parted version of this tune. So just concentrate on those first 3 lines. Okay?
And did you send out the, is that the King's Reel? I have the old King's Reel, but I don't have the King's Reel.
Oh, no? Oh, okay. Well, I'll send it out. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll take a picture of it, and I won't include that variation for now. I'll just give you, it'll be less confusing.
Thank you.
Okay?
Good night, everybody. Have a good week.
Thanks a million, guys. See you
Thank
later.
you.
Thank you.